All right, I'll call the Village of Cross Plains Plan Commission of June 2nd, 2025 to order. Roll call, please.
Trustee Brochus.
Here.
Commissioner Johnson.
Here.
Commissioner Cree. Here. Commissioner Thusius.
Here.
Trustee Kettlebeater.
Here.
President Langfeld.
Here.
And Commissioner Hillenbrand.
Here. Please stand for pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Since I made the mistake last time, this is Tim Hillenbrand. He's our new member of Plan Commission.
We have a big part of it.
All right, public comment. This is an opportunity for anyone to address the Plan Commission on any issue. Please observe the time limit of 3 minutes. While the Plan Commission encourages input from residents, it may not discuss or act on any issue that is not duly noticed on the agenda. All right, I don't see anybody here. I don't see anybody on the internet, so we'll go right to general business. Number one, approval of the minutes of the April 7th, 2025 Plan Commission meeting. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the April 7th Plan Commission meeting.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, same. So moved. Number two, we'll do this in 3 sections. You know, A, B, and C. So we're starting with the community facilities zoning district, zoning text and map amendment. Those are the ones. So the first part is a public hearing. Do I have a motion to go into public hearing?
I'll make a motion to go into public hearing for the community facilities zoning district zoning text and map amendment.
Do I have a second? Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Brochus.
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Cree.
Yes.
Commissioner Thusius.
Yeah.
Trustee Kettlebeater.
Yes.
President Langfeld.
Yes.
Commissioner Hillenbrand.
Yes.
All right, I do not see anybody.
I actually had one emailed to me.
Well, then let's go for it. Good.
Right. So this is from Julius Smith, and he is at, I had his address, 3601 Creekside Way. And so for item 2, he says, in item 2, there has been no legal description of the lands being rezoned. Cited those lands should be formally defined as, so he has a formal definition, lot 3 of certified survey map, number 10,045, recorded in volume 58 of certified survey maps of Dane County on pages 301, 303 as document number 3321-512, and should also include the immediately adjacent 33 feet public right-of-way off of Bourbon Road. And he's attached a CSM as well that I can show, I think. Maybe I can't.
Well, I'm guessing that's for C then.
Yeah, well, he has, this is for, I guess I can't open it. Oh no. Okay, this is it, I'm sorry. So he attached this to his document, so I'll just keep reading it. He's just saying all rezoning description should contain the adjacent public right-of-way out of the center line of the public right-of-way. This is for future consideration. If there shall be an alteration in the public way through a discontinuance, vacation, or disposal of the lands. This way the lands will not have to be rezoned. I am assuming there should be no ordinance prohibiting the use of any zoning for the creation of a public right-of-way, so this should not conflict with any zoning. The effective rezone in this case would just be lot 3 currently, but by including the lands to the center line, while currently not really affecting anything, if the right-of-way was ever reduced, there would not have to be a rezone for any portion of the right-of-way. It would just become part of the adjacent lot that dedicated it, already having the same zoning. Otherwise, in the future, there could be a need to revisit these instances, and there would be a need to run another rezoning ordinance to fix any such change to clean up the zoning map as we currently are doing. So that was
He's talking about a lot, isn't it lot 2 though? Or is it lot 3?
It would be about 3.
It's 3.
It would be lot 3?
Two is third.
So,
I'm trying to. Hard for me to visualize that, but okay.
yeah,
So the Continental right down there at the bottom.
Right.
So. if you're
Your
looking-
crosswalk.
To the edge of the fire station.
Yep, so when you're looking from Continental up.
Oh, gotcha.
Creek, yep,
Okay. All right.
so it, yeah, seems he's concerned about the public right of way. And cleaning that up as well. I don't know if there's anything, Sonia, that,
Well, first of all, we're not to that one. That would be part of C, so let's hold off.
well, this was, he is talking about item number 2 on the agenda.
Well, yeah,
so-
number 2, and he's speaking at the public hearing, but the
Mhm.
public hearing is really what he's talking about is C. Because B is just a general zoning type, so.
Oh, sure,
He's
okay,
he's
sorry about
talking
that,
detail about a particular lot, which would be C.
okay.
So we have that, and that's at public hearing, which is fine. Anything else?
That's all he had for that.
All right. So let's, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second?
Do I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same. So you, okay. B. Discussion and possible action regarding recommendation of proposed zoning ordinance amendments to provision of section 84.54 regarding the land use table in addition to creating the community facility zoning district and related change. We've had this a couple times, but Sonia, you want to just do a quick review?
So this item would create, just for those of you that don't know me, I'm the consultant village planner, for the village. And this item would create a new zoning district called community facilities. This is something that is recommended in the current comprehensive plan. And the purpose of creating this district would be to create standards that work better for uses like the new village hall that's coming forward and other community facilities. So right now, those uses can be accommodated as conditional uses in other zoning districts. I think in any zoning district, you could use a conditional use permit to get approval of an indoor institutional land use. But that's kind of a backwards way to do it with more steps that are necessary. We want to try to avoid as many conditional uses as possible, for reasons we can talk about if need be. And then also have standards for the development that better fit the land uses that we're talking about. So this zoning district that's proposed tonight would have all of the standards for parking, landscaping, land use, pavement setbacks, building setbacks, etc., that would meet what's proposed for the village hall site. So it would be a permitted use. You wouldn't have to go through a conditional use permit. You wouldn't need a plan development for specialized standards, and then it would apply to other properties that want to use the community facility zoning district in the future. So in the packet is kind of an introductory 1-page on purpose, which I just hit some highlights of, and then it goes through a number of sections that Carly has on the screen now, but it just shows in the zoning code where the changes would be made. Section 1 is a list of the zoning districts. Section 2 are the land uses permitted and conditional that would be allowed there. Then it gets into the dimensional setbacks in a table for things like building setback from the street, et cetera, et cetera. You could parking standards, so I can answer questions on any of those, but that's the purpose of this. And then in addition, there's a table that's separate from this document, and it's called the table of land uses. And that's what's referenced on the agenda, section 84.54. And that is just a one-stop shop. There it is. With all of your zoning districts listed across the top, land uses listed across the right. And then the P's and C's are whether it's a permitted or conditional use in that district. So this is also updated to reflect the new district that we're proposing. So that's item B, and then item C would be to rezone a specific property.
Yeah, let's not
Yeah.
talk that one yet.
Yeah.
All right, any questions on the B part, which is the change in zoning? Is that
So it relates to the table 8454, and I guess the description of acceptable activities. I'll go to the table first, because that's where I first saw it. So on the second page of the table, where it starts with agricultural land uses. Yeah, so if we keep scrolling down so we can get to the recreation, okay. Oh, no.
Was I there? There it was.
So the column to the left of community facilities is community mixed use. I don't believe that they have permitted active outdoor recreation in that somehow. When I look at the zoning, that should be blank. I don't know how that got copied in there. But then I was going to question, do we want the community facilities to have active outdoor recreation as permitted use? Because I'm just thinking, like, if this ever gets used for like a church or something, this would say they could come in and put in a big swimming pool or something by right, not by conditional use. So I'm thinking more about private property that might be under the zoning, but I noticed, I think that active outdoor recreation P with community mixed uses is typo somehow. So I don't know if that's why there's a P in community facilities, because it was like copied over.
Yep, I'm here. Don't do that while we're talking.
So that was one question concern, and on the fourth page of the table. Yes, fourth page of the table. Outdoor display. No, one's got them, which shown this permitted, I just wanted the discussion of. Is that something that we think it's conditional use for everything else? Is that something that should be, should be a P for these kind of facilities? Again, I'm more thinking about private properties that may use this facility rather than the village home. So.
Okay, so I guess, what part of outdoor display would you have a concern with?
Well, that's like, the way it's written is like outdoor display for like things for sale. Right, it's like merchandise.
Oh, I guess well, the whole reason it was in there was for the village halls, if we wanted to do the, farmer's market there.
I'm sorry, I'm wondering.
I don't wanna do a condition and have them have to go through a conditional use permit to do a farmer's market at Village Hall
Right,
parking lot,
but if
so.
this, that's what I'm mentioning, if this is zoning, based on the description, it's intended to be potentially used by schools, churches, so it's not just. like,
Yeah.
Public property, so I just wanna make sure. If this ever comes up, that we wouldn't have a concern with other property owners that might use the zoning, being able to do that same thing without. Oh, which is different from what any other privately owned property.
But if a church is having a rummage sale, we would have a problem with signage or having it
Well, it's
outside.
conditional use for other land uses, so I'm just wondering,
Well, yeah,
do we
'cause-
really wanna, do we wanna make it a permitted use for this specific land use, and then that would be. Different for these private landowners than other private.
Yes, I mean, I think that's why you have your zoning code written, you wanna treat different properties differently. So, like I said, I can understand why it's conditional use for some of the others, because, you're talking about Main Street, so we want much more. Limitation on that and control on that, but I don't know, I just don't, and there's a lot more. Usage, I guess, on Main Street than I see at a church, a school, or a public facility. The idea is to make this as much. Open, I'd rather, instead of trying to change this and fit everything into one whole, I'd rather eliminate churches if that's where we're really having a concern, because I think schools. And other municipal buildings are gonna work pretty much the same. And I think the idea is to try to make them open to the public as much as possible. So there's,
I always mention it's more just. It's.
Yeah, no, I understand.
The private properties that might fall under this might be different than the public property.
Right.
Right.
But I'd rather remove the church, I'd rather remove the private and just, if that's the case, keep it to. Public buildings or government buildings, or where you would include schools and municipal buildings. I don't know, Sonia, why are churches thrown in there?
church would fall under the same indoor institutional, that's generalized, so church or village hall, it's all indoor institutional. If that's what you're asking. Outdoor display is a more.
No, I'm just wondering, is there a way of, if church was not, is there a way of having it where church would not be part of community facility zoning?
You could separate it out. I think the right way to do it would be to amend the definition of indoor institutional. Or you could do a little carve out that says, community facilities allows indoor institutional except churches, but doing that on the fly, I think is a little bit questionable, without sort of thinking about the.
Yeah, I'm just trying.
And I'm not saying I'm against. church.
No, I hear, but I hear your point, I clearly hear your point, but like I say, the whole reason of doing this is to separate it so there can be more being done without all the red tape.
Yeah.
That's why we basically wanna zone it differently.
Understood, I'm playing a little bit of devil's advocate.
Yeah, no, I hear where you're
And
coming
that
from,
versus the zoning.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
But then, yeah, the first issue about
Yeah.
the active alter
You
recreation.
are correct. The CMU, the column to the left, has a P in it right now in the draft, and that should be deleted. So if you go up a page.
There are 2 pages, active outdoor recreation. Yeah, that P, the black P,
And then 4 there, yep.
yeah,
So the P to the left is black in the CMU, that should just be blank. Active outdoor recreation is prohibited in that district. And then
so I have some questions.
theoretically, we would delete the P if we were drafting this from the beginning in the new CF district, because it was modeled after the CMU as a starting point. But that's a question, if you want to allow active outdoor recreation as a permitted use in this new district, or if you needed to a C.
I can also be seen.
Okay, let me ask you, I'm just throwing something out there, not that it's gonna. So let's say the retention pond here, we make that an ice skating rink. That would be considered outdoor recreation, and we'd have to get a conditional use, or it just wouldn't be permitted at all.
I believe it would be the conditional use. The examples that I'm more familiar with that make a lot of sense would be a baseball field with lights. That's something that you might want a conditional use permit for if you're a neighbor and you want to have comments on light intensity or noise or hours of operation.
I was in basketball courts and pools, stuff like that are also listed in there, so. Not saying it should be prohibited, I just thought, I don't know, if it was intended to be a P versus a C.
What are people's thoughts on that? Kevin?
Yeah, I didn't catch that, Seth, thank you. I tend to agree with that, Seth, like I wish there was a simple way to carve out public and private. In here. Because I think that if it's us, it's the public community doing one of these things. We don't wanna hold ourselves up. But certainly if it's a private organization, we might want a little more say in it, and we may wanna hold up to find out those answers and get a conditional use permit. Is there any exemption for us getting a conditional use permit for our own property? It seems like there should be.
But we gotta follow the rules like everybody else.
Pick up the rules. Yeah, so if there's not an elegant way to neatly carve out public and private, I think I might lean toward making more of these conditional use in these couple of situations.
Other people?
I'm free, I think the conditional makes no sense. Just so we have a little control.
So would this fall under, like the new sports facility they're talking about, would that be a private?
That would be private, that would not fall under this unless there was some arrangement that we take it over.
Okay.
And it becomes public.
Well, I guess, what zoning would that kind of thing go into if it didn't go into this? What do we think would be appropriate?
Well, there's one in there, isn't there?
Are we talking about the indoor
Yeah,
baseball?
yeah,
And that was privately owned?
yeah.
There's a whole discussion on this, of course. I think it was indoor commercial entertainment
Yeah.
because it was a private commercial business. So that's what the land use is called, indoor commercial entertainment, and that would be one of the land uses listed on the right here. under commercial land uses.
And when you say commercial business, and would it matter if it's commercial business versus commercial nonprofit? Does that make a difference?
The definition does discuss that. I think the public nonprofit falls more into the active outdoor recreation, whereas indoor commercial entertainment is really the not public and the not.
But that's the land use, what about the zoning?
So if you were able to scroll down, Carly, to commercial land uses,
Page 4.
and then indoor commercial entertainment is number 7, and then the Cs, it's a conditional use in neighborhood mixed use, community mixed use, Main Street mixed use, and business.
So as of now, something like that, we couldn't even, we wouldn't want to have it in the zoning category anyways.
Yeah.
It would be a lot.
Right. I'm not gonna fight hard for it, I just, like I say, my whole philosophy is. When we, and the main reason for this, besides being in the 10-year plan of ours, comprehensive plan. And if you read that, that's the reason to give more flexibility to public buildings and stuff, but. If we want to, the odds of us buying a building and putting in an ice skating rink or a baseball diamond are pretty slim, as long as we have common uses like the farmer's market and. And where people can come in and use our building for good things is fine with me. But it just seems odd to me that our park and rec would have to come here and ask for a conditional use to put up a hockey rink. In the pond behind the village hall, that just seems odd to me, that's all.
What are they doing now though for the ice skating rink over by the pool?
They don't come in for conditional use, I don't know how they probably just put it up.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't make, I mean, if we can make it right, you know, if we, just because we've been doing something wrong, we should continue and say, hey, we'll just carry on. I think this might change that, obviously, I mean, it's gonna, I would think would change the zoning of that, don't you think?
No zone now, right? We know what it's zone now, that whole pool library block, is that
Residents.
special? room?
Because if it's part of the new parks and recreation.
Yeah.
Then it's active outdoor recreation doesn't require conditional use.
Yeah,
Well, active outdoor recreation isn't permitted. By writing, like
we're getting off the subject, let's stay focused here, so, you know.
Yeah, I'll make a point on this one thing. If the church or let's say school even, during the summertime wanted to do a group daycare center. This is automatically permitted in this, and I would think that the village would wanna know something like a group daycare is happening. In a church or at another facility. So I would say I think we'd wanna know that, even if we were doing it ourselves, we'd at least wanna have. Some paper trails, some of these important things, to have that be the only P in that, line. Doesn't seem to jive, I think we would just we'd wanna have some information about it before we allow it, so.
Well, there's all kinds, daycares can pop up and we don't say have any say in daycares.
Okay.
No, I mean, like, the one in Andrus's building, they didn't, we don't.
We improved that land use, when we approved that.
That's conditional use, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a conditional use.
Yeah, we did.
Group daycare is conditional use in every
Wherever it's allowed,
zoning that it's allowed.
except for potentially this one,
Which is 9 or more children.
9 or more.
It's like in-home daycare,
Is different.
yes.
Bill,
So, I mean, I understand what you guys are saying, but, the thing is we can what if everything, and. That's one of the things that I've kind of learned on both this and being on the board is that, we just kind of use common sense to say, what are we trying to accomplish, where are we trying to go, and kind of agree upon that. If it becomes an issue, then we can readdress it. But I don't think we can what if every single scenario, because it's infinite. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I wanna hold up, I don't think we can, if we allow a public use or a permitted use. And then we say, hey, that's not working, and we go back and try to change it to conditional use, I think that would get in serious trouble. By changing a use that's already been allowed because of, say, one issue.
Oh, yeah,
So,
definitely.
I don't think we wanna do that. And then secondly, I think this is the planning commission, this is our job, is to try to signboard these
I
things
agree.
well enough that. We're allowing them with some reasonable expectations and. Some of the things that, I guess when I read it, I'm glad you caught the private, I did not expect to have the private part, the private organizations. Have the same ability that the community would, like if it was village owned, all of these village owned, I'd make them all peace, pretty much. But because if a private group or individual or business is going to be able to get this zoning. Then I think we still want some control over a few of these items.
Seth?
So at this point, let's say we create the zoning category, right? None of the schools or churches or anything right now are gonna be immediately change that zoning, so they would have to apply. For rezoning to get into this, so there's an opportunity that. Down the line,
Very
we
true.
can deny that zoning, or change the zoning beforehand if we need to. So I do wanna recognize that, I just, yeah, I'm kind of, I'm worried about. Saying you can do this and then coming back and trying to change it at the last minute, then saying, well, you can do this beyond.
All right, so let me just recap this because I mean, I don't think it's a big issue on, so you're looking at outdoor activity, daycare. And what is the other one you wanna change to conditional? What were the three?
Outdoor recreation.
Yeah, active, outdoor, what else? Daycare,
And the outdoor display was. I'm not. 100% saying it should be C, but I just wanted to point out that that's something that we're okay with if we do that as a PD. For a private institution.
the other two I'll go along with, the display one, I think. I don't care if it's a church or anything, if they got something going on, they wanna display it, I just don't see a huge problem with that. The other two, I'll certainly, if it's gonna move it along, it's not a big thing for me for the daycare and active outdoor activity. Let's just. We can make those modifications pretty early. What are other people's thought on the display part?
Is a display considered a sign? Cause that's where Michael's gonna.
Well, yeah, but there'd be temporary anything for the sign, but yeah, I'm thinking the same thing with you, but that'll be covered by the sign zone.
Okay, got it.
This is more for the temporary, and it's not just signage, it'd be a display.
Would it help to pull up the definition of outdoor
Yeah.
displays on screen?
Cause like my question is like, then would they have to get conditional use to put in nativity scene at that Christmas?
No,
Okay,
Like
outdoor
that-
display is a principal land use. There's also a separate list for temporary that probably is going to cover things like that, but the principal definition of outdoor display is if you're at Ace Hardware and they have lawnmowers out or garden supplies, or if you're at a greenhouse and it has stuff outside, or if you're selling sheds for sale that people can put in their backyard, or there's another example in the code.
Page 103 of the zoning code.
I just don't know how strong my connection is, so I'm not going to mess with this.
So land uses where sales and display merchandise or equipment is conducted outside of it. Examples include, but are not limited to outdoor garden centers, outdoor recreation equipment sales, RVs and things like that, monument sales, cemetery, headstones I've seen, manufactured mobile home sales. If a land use displays for sale or rent only a limited amount of product outside a building may be considered incidental. So there's carve outs for incidental, like which is just small amounts, or temporary covers other things, but this is really a principal land use where it's out there all the time. And then there are certain conditions that they must comply with, like you can't be in the setback areas, you can't sell junk vehicles, things like that.
So like if St. Martin's were to want to make their like little red preschool sign permanent. Then they have to do.
Sign just something.
That would be the sign.
That's the sign.
Zoning, yeah.
Okay. Same learning curve.
right.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, all those safeguards are in that already, right?
Yep.
So I wonder why that outdoor display has to be any letter. Seems to me that that's not something we want at either. Public or private commercial facility. Would we just have sheds or other materials outside? Not a commercial.
No, I agree with you there.
With that definition, I would say it's blank.
This farmer's market, it's separate. Land use.
Yeah,
Signs are
and
temporary.
those other ones, there's a category for temporary, so
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. All right, everybody fine with those three changes?
Just to repeat, it's active outdoor recreation, change that from a P to a C.
Yep,
Outdoor display prohibit,
yep,
group daycare change to conditional.
yep.
And then there's the typo to clean up the CMU, remove
Yeah.
the P completely.
All right, does that sit well with everybody?
Yes.
All right, did we have a motion for this? I don't.
We did not.
No.
Okay. Can I have a motion now?
Make a motion to approve the proposed zoning ordinance and land use table as presented with the modifications which is listed. Do I need to list them all?
No, you don't have to listen, but make sure you tell the zoning that we're creating.
Oh, to create zoning ordinance, provisions of sections 8454 regarding the land use table, in addition to creating the community facility zoning district and related changes.
Thank you, that should cover it. Do I have a second?
Okay.
All right, any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same, so moved. All right, now we're on C, which is basically zoning the lot that we're gonna build the village hall and police station on to this zoning. And maybe you can help us understand what that email was actually saying. I'm not understanding the right of way part of the, why that has anything to do with zoning.
So Carly's bringing that back up.
Yep.
And at the surface level, this person is asking that just a better legal description be documented for the exact area that's being rezoned. So I think they're correct in stating, you know, if you wanted to put it in the motion or just for a matter of record next time, would be lot 3 of certified survey map, whatever the number is, and they have references about exactly, you know, pages that it's recorded in and such. And then they're also saying that beyond the 2 property corners, that the first 33 feet of right of way that's adjacent to lot 3 should be included in that legal description. And then they listed off and specifically saying to rezone that to community facilities, and they're saying that that should be done in case there were alterations to the right of way in the future. If it was vacated, then you wouldn't have to rezone that portion. I don't think I agree with that.
Well, that's a waterway. That's a waterway for the drainage, so I don't think that's ever
Well,
gonna be.
and the 33 feet we're talking about is
Right.
roadway dedicated to the public, so it's right of way
The northern half of
on the south side.
No, I thought they were talking about the drainage to
Right here.
the east of the lot.
I believe they referred to Centerline Street to.
Yep, they refer to center line.
Oh.
So I think the part of half of the road should be rezoned, so there's.
Yep.
In case we ever vacate half of the road,
I
then it's.
It's never zoned right of way anything, and I think there's a note in the email chain that references that that's Fitchburg practice, but that's not how we did it in Fitchburg when I worked there. So I would, I don't have any problem with the first comment being more specific about the legal description, but I don't think it's necessary or legally in your obligation in any way to zone the roadway.
All right. Is everybody comfortable with doing a better legal description of that?
Is the board gonna do a certified survey of that lot or not?
I think we've already,
I thought we did.
I thought we did what we wanted.
Maybe there, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, there is.
yeah, well, yeah, we have a good legal description, so we just have to put that into. When we bring it to the board, we'll have a better legal description.
Yep.
So do I have a motion, to make that, 1601 Bourbon Road zone planning development to community facility? Go ahead, Kevin.
I'll propose a motion to, for map amendment to rezone land from planned development to community facilities at 1601 Urban Road in the village of Cross Plains.
Second.
All right, any other discussion?
I just want to say I support the idea of a better legal description.
Mhm.
And if you did include a right of way, you would actually need another legal description because that entire right of way was part of a single parcel, looked like dedicated to the public, so we'd have to do another
Yeah.
part of the survey. So, but yeah, I'm generally supportive of surveys, good legals.
All right, anything else? All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye, all opposed, same, so moved. All right, number 3, Parks and Recreation zoning district, zoning map amendment. Take them in 2 parts. Part A, do I have a motion to go into public hearing?
Motion.
Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second, any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Brochus? Or I'm sorry, that's right, trustee Brochus. Sorry, I thought I was looking at the wrong thing. Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yeah.
Commissioner Thusius,
Yeah.
trustee Kettlemeter,
Yes.
President Langfeld,
Yes.
Commissioner Hillenbrand.
Yes.
All right, we're at public hearing. Anybody here that would like to speak on this topic?
I have another email from Jewel Smith at 3061 Creekside Way. Similarly, for item 3, the 2 legal descriptions produced for the rezoning should also be amended to include the adjacent portions of Gills Way, Rocky Bluff Court, and County Trunk Highway, KP. Finally, as I see the village requested a survey of the lands to be described for item 3 in the rezoning, it should be noted that this is an AE7 survey, as NOAA Preve PLS is certifying 2. Therefore, under AE7, a copy of the survey is required to be filed with Dane County, either with the county surveyor or land records office, in order to avoid confusion in the future, as these areas have been shown to physically monument in the field. I feel a note on the survey should be placed as to the purpose of the survey. Something to the effect of this survey was performed to establish a separate village use zoning parcel within a village-owned larger parcel and does not constitute a new land division. To avoid any reference to these surveys to be found by others trying to split up parcels with mere legal descriptions that are not adjoining owners. The current optics of these areas being shown monumented without the description of intent could make it appear as though the village was performing an illegal land division and ignoring its own rules.
Okay. Anything else? Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion, close public hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, same. All right, we're closed. Okay, we'll go to B. This is discussion and possible action regarding rezoning lands from conservation to parks and recreation at outlot 6, Scenic Valley subdivision, and outlot 1, Cedar Hill division in the village of Cross Plains. So can anybody? I don't understand and really understand any of that. It sounds really technical to me. Kevin, you're kind of, what are your thoughts? You do this every day.
I know, I'm looking over here.
Sure. So
Thanks, Sonia.
I think their comments were, technical surveying requirements. But at the end of the day, what we're doing here is rezoning a portion of a lot.
Yes.
So they're correct, we're creating a zoning lot. So there will be one lot, whatever it is described, and it will have 2 different zoning districts. The parcel itself will be split zoned.
Yes.
And that is done, the purpose of that is to get the right uses that are happening there into the right zoning district. So Mike Axon and Carly may be able to describe and Jay better exactly what use is happening where, but that we're rezoning a portion to conservancy and keeping a portion park and rec so that the uses are permitted where they're supposed to be. And Usually, we would do a full CSM to divide the parcel into two and then have those zoning districts just be on their own parcel as a whole. However, this was a sort of village decision to do it this way. It's not illegal, this is an outlot that will never be otherwise developed. It's, I think, some sort of dedicated parkland that would require steps to vacate. So there are less risks in this case for doing split zoning. The reasons that we don't like split zoning is just for clear records, which is really what his email was about. So yes, I agree, it should be recorded. There's no issue with that. That's just a matter of putting on record to anybody that's looking at records, what zone what. And that would follow the legal description that the surveyor put together. So I don't have any issue with that. Similarly, I would not recommend rezoning the right of way. And I think that was the extent of the comments.
Yeah, I kind of remember, it's also a cost saving since we own the whole lot. And parks, you can do more in than you can in the conservancy part, so that's why I remember this discussion now. So I guess I'm comfortable just leaving it as and making sure we record it, I guess. Kevin?
So in the last situation, the right of way was Bourbon Road, we own that, we control that. This is a county highway where we don't.
No, we do. We own that part of it, that side of it.
The
And
half.
yeah, and we're gonna end up owning all of it next year.
Oh, okay. So if the county wanted to move it, that road, they would have to work with us. We would have to move that road.
Yeah, the south part of the road is ours, the north is theirs, up until next year.
You recall that.
Jurisdictional transfer.
Yes, they're gonna pay for half of it, we pay for half of it, and we own it from basically the village limits.
Okay, the question I came in with, which is, the conservancies, when they were dedicated through subdivision and plan approval, et cetera, is there any language in that process that we, any rules, I guess, our own rules back that we are breaking by changing the zoning from conservation department?
No, you can rezone at any time, but there are specific rules for if you're going to vacate parkland.
Okay.
And remove it from public dedication, then you have to go through a circuit court order to vacate. Something on a restriction on a plat, you would have to vacate that, but we're not removing any restriction, we're just rezoning.
And, is there any title work that's required for that process? I mean, was there public funds used in any of the acquisition of those properties? In state stewardship,
I don't think so. Those were all donated as part of the development.
well, I guess I just wonder, anytime you make a change like that, if there are any sort of pre-existing deed restrictions or other dedications on the property. Do we need to do a title search, or do we need to check that, if somebody say donated it in their parent's name as a conservancy, something along those lines, that there is some sort of restriction that we just find out that we're not.
If you wanted to make sure, you could check with Mike Axon and see what work has been done, what, as part of this plat of survey. Did the surveyor, uncover any other restrictions that are a matter of record? Did they do a title search? But I think those things would be a little bit outside of the zoning action that the plan commission is doing. Not a bad idea, but I think you could maybe condition it on confirming no title restrictions, or just in good faith to ask that staff follow up on that before recording.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Stuff?
On this parcel, the one on KB here is the reason we're looking to rezone this because of the bike path? Or what's the use?
Well-
that we want in their Parks and Rec rather than conservancy?
I think it goes back. We ended up separating parks, and I think that's part of what number 4 is gonna be. It used to be they were together, so then we separated the zonings, right? So now what we're trying to do is get the lands that were merged separated. That's my
Yeah,
understanding.
I understand, but the other one is a park, active park, I can understand that, I'm just wondering, this particular parcel. What was the use on this that would be a better fit of the Parks and Rec? I don't know if that's the bike path that goes through there, or.
Well, I think they're looking at, expanding, off-road. Bike path, and what's the track that you go?
Dirt bike, it's not dirt.
Pump
No,
track, it's called a pump track,
a
isn't it?
pump track, there's some interest in putting a pump track there.
West of Gillsway.
There was even talk about parking lot here when this was dedicated, so.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I say, we're kinda, this, my understanding is more of a cleanup thing,
Yeah.
right? If
Mhm. It is.
it's a cleanup thing.
So I was talking to Mike before this meeting. And I was asking him about what he's planning, and he goes, there's restrictions on what you can't do in a conservancy versus a park, and that's what he's just trying to clean up. Is the rules of what we already have, make sure we're following our own rules, whether it's a conservancy or a park.
I just didn't know what the intent was for this parcel.
I
Why would we need something other than?
I agree.
Yeah, I believe the cycling group has approached.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
All right, any other discussion? Do we have a motion? I can't remember if we, okay. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to recommend rezoning lands from conservancy to parks and recreation at outlot 6, scenic valley subdivision, and outlot 1, Cedar Hill subdivision.
All right, do I have a second?
Second,
And any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. So moved. Number 4,
We motion to go to public hearing.
yes,
I make a motion to go into public hearing.
I'll say.
all right, I have a motion and second to go into public hearing. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
oh, you need a roll call.
Yeah, you need roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's right. Roll call.
Trustee Brochus,
Turn my neck, turn this something.
trustee Brochus,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Cree.
Yeah.
Commissioner Thusius.
Yeah.
Trustee Kettlebeater,
Yes.
President Langfeld.
Yes.
Commissioner Hillenbrand.
Yes.
All right, we're in public hearing. Anybody here would like to speak on this topic?
What topic is it?
Division of rural holding districts, 6
This is clean up again. Do we have an email?
No.
All right, so do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Make a motion to close public hearing?
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same. So moved. Discussion and possible action regarding recommendation, old ordinance amendment provision of section 84.25 and 84.26 of the Village of Cross Plains Code of Ordinance regarding conservation and rural holding zoning district. I know this is a cleanup one, but I can't remember what it is anymore.
Exactly. First child was born.
Yeah, it's.
We were working on creating a new park and rec zone district. And that was done successfully. But as we were creating that zoning district, we were shifting around other land uses and putting them into the right category. So it was primarily affecting the new park and rec PR and then affecting the conservancy. And then there were a couple of changes also with rural holding. So there was just matter of record keeping about what ended up getting approved and what didn't. So this is just the cleanup on related changes that needed to happen to conservation and rural holding. And those are shown in red line. Yeah, Harley has them up there. So additions in red text and strikeouts in stricken red text to both of those districts. And then these would be should also be reflected in that table that we were looking at earlier. But at the time, the reason you're not seeing it as part of this is because the table was updated then. So this is just updating the text of those zoning districts, just getting the records in the right order.
All right, Anybody wanna do the motion on this one?
I got it. I'll make a motion to approve the amendments to provisions of section 84.25 and 84.26 of the Village of Cross Plains Code of Ordinances regarding conservation and rural holding zoning districts.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same. So moved. All right. This should be really five, not two.
Yep,
again.
I noticed that.
Discussion and possible action regarding village comprehensive plan. Approved clean copy of survey. So we're at the stage where we've looked at it, we've decided that we're gonna send the same one out. So I guess the question is, anybody, have any other changes? Otherwise, what we should do is probably have a short discussion on timeline and roles people are gonna play in getting this out.
Yeah, all of the changes from last time should have been implemented in here as well, so. If you see something that. You know, you didn't, or you meant to have added, that didn't get added, just let me know and I can always adjust that.
All right, everybody comfortable with this then? Okay, why don't we, you can have a motion to accept this, community comprehensive, survey.
I'll make a motion to approve the village comprehensive plans survey.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, I have a motion and second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same. So. When do we wanna start this?
When's the next newsletter going out?
Well, we just did one,
Next month.
Right,
was it last month?
yeah,
Like 2 weeks ago.
It was like.
It could have been 2 weeks ago, I don't know, it's all blended.
Next month.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
yes,
You're right.
it was
It was
May.
May, so I think the next one will probably be July.
Okay.
So you're thinking timing in with that?
Yeah.
All right, so, we'll put something in the newsletter, probably put a copy of it in there. We'll get it on the website, right, so
July, yeah.
people can do it right on the website, we'll have some hard copies. Maybe put some hard copies down at the library, some hard copies here.
Should we promote it on social media?
Yeah.
Facebook and,
Yep,
What's happening across plains and that type of thing?
Yeah.
Yep.
That'll be good, cause I'm planning on, going to all the committees. Starting this month and however long it takes me to hit them all. And I'll let them know what's coming, because we will want them to be a major player in getting the word out.
sure. How long would we want it to be open for,
But
their survey?
it's,
A month?
oh, we gotta go longer than that, I won't hit everybody by, the timing of the meetings, plus it's summertime with vacations, I'd like to have it out there for 3 months. I mean, what does it hurt?
Creates urgency.
But
Do it now or
we
forget it.
Yeah, I know, but do we really wanna do that? I'd
We could
rather,
always extend it, like if we didn't get
That's-
enough.
Middle of 2 months. You say 1, you say 3, I say 2.
August, September will be another newsletter.
About October 1st.
September, yeah,
If you do, if you're gonna do it in July to introduce it, then do it in September to close it down.
okay,
Then there's urgency in September. But
yeah, I like,
Yeah.
that's
and
good.
then people are coming back to school, back from
Yeah.
vacations.
As long as it's open when the first newsletter goes out, cause I wanna tell people, this will come out. soon.
No,
I'm with you it.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree, but I just wanna make sure everybody has an opportunity, cause that is the one thing I hear a lot of, "Oh, I didn't get the, input, I haven't heard this, I haven't that,
Okay.
and it does take a while to get it out, I mean, for like the leaf pickup, I ended up going to every house and dropping the leaflet off. Cause then I knew everybody got it and there were no excuses
Yeah.
for that, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I don't wanna do that again, that was a lot of walking. But- Yeah, it was a lot of steps, but, I think if, give me a time to get all the committees notified. Gives us some time to get
Right.
Becky prepped on.
Yeah, I was
on-
also thinking we could probably put something on the water bill, like a link to the survey. If that would be something, because we have a little bit of room for text, so we could have like a link or just like
Yeah.
visit this website.
Right, so,
So then
okay,
people would see it, people that don't
Yeah.
go on social media.
oh, that's a good
If you're
idea.
gonna go in July, some of the summer recreation groups that they put out newsletters, you can advertise it.
Yeah.
Stingrays and.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just so you know, it'll be the earliest would be middle of July, because usually the newsletter goes out around the middle of July. So we're looking at July, then August, September, that's perfect then.
Yeah.
And end it in September, yeah.
So my two questions are, is this only for village residents? Or can anyone do it?
No, I would like it to keep it to village, don't you?
But how do you?
Well,
You can't.
we can, but we can't. Well, it would be directed towards village residents, that's what the whole, I will not say this is a community, you
Yeah.
know.
I'm wondering, we might be able to too also have them like input their address or like, are you a resident? Because then we can sort it out.
I know, but that turns people down because they're worried someone's gonna see what their answers are.
No,
They're-
even if we say, are you village Crest Plains or even town of Crest Plains, they can't leave a box that says like what township you're in.
Oh, yeah, we could do
Yeah.
that.
We would do that,
Sure.
and then they could just, and not if they mail us or whatever. And can people do it more than once? Would we ever know? We wouldn't know.
We wouldn't know. Some people don't know they live in the village or live in the town.
Well, they do by their taxes.
Well, you.
But I mean, come on, this is a community survey, I don't think
But I
anybody's
just
gonna.
that box.
I mean, it'll take you 20 minutes to complete.
Well, I mean,
Like that's why, yeah. But that's why I would like a box on there that just says.
we can do that, we can
Yeah.
certainly do that,
That's
that's
easy.
innocent, and no one will even notice that. Yeah, no, that I think is all right, as long as you
Yeah.
didn't have to.
With their whole address and their
Right.
phone number and their name,
Yeah.
and social security number.
When can we do a follow-up?
All right,
Okay.
To, where were the hard copies that I got at the library, where would I return that, does it go back to the library, or is it, we have one collection point, or?
well, last time we had them drop them off here at the village.
Here would be good. But I mean, if they were at the library, they could always get them to us too.
There.
Wouldn't be a big deal.
Yeah,
If they leave it out here in the water.
they wouldn't fit in there.
Right, they probably wouldn't fit.
This is, if you remember, it's pretty thick.
Oh.
If you-
Of the voting box, maybe.
We can make the font smaller, save more paper. No,
Oh, yeah.
No, I.
I'm
No,
kidding.
Most people are gonna do the electronic
Right.
version of it, but you wanna have it for people that are not comfortable.
Yeah,
with
because
that.
we could also do a QR code also
Oh, yeah.
for
that'd be
people
another-
to,
Put that on the Facebook.
yeah, and on, or,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe like a link on the water bill and a little QR code or
Yeah.
something. So then they can just like take it on their phone.
What's your intent of going to all these committees that you're worried about, you won't get to in time? Is there?
Well, my original intent was, it's time, I mean, I've, appointed everybody on every committee. There's no one that hasn't, so I just think there's I wanna do a reminder of the role of the committees.
So it has nothing to do with really.
No, I didn't think of that until this came up just now, I was planning on doing that, I was gonna tell the staff on Wednesday that that's what my plan is, to put me on their agenda. So it's just a short thing of just reminding people, you know, what the roles is and the expectation. All right.
Great.
Everybody comfortable with that then? All right, we got a plan here, perfect. All right,
Motion to adjourn.
Oh, oh, I got a future item on.
well, unfortunately, it's not on here, but go ahead, just tell me what it is.
So I had a resident ask me if we could put yellow lines in front of mailboxes because they're having an issue with their mail being delivered. Just want to bring it up to this meeting to see if that's something we may want to entertain or not, but let's talk about it at a different meeting.
Yeah. All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sorry, Dale.